today's news, who or what is Sarah, and we look at the Christchurch power supply. Welcome to CTV News, I'm Rob Cope-Williams. The Mental Health Foundation has launched a campaign aimed at awareness of the well-being of we Cantabrians.
You may have seen a number of new posters around Christchurch. These posters are being put up by the Mental Health Foundation and are aimed at targeting the well-being of people in Christchurch. 5 posters are being put up around town, featuring practical ways Cantabrians can support their own well-being during this time.
The 5 ways to wellbeing messages are really practical ways to just think about how you're feeling, how you're operating in and around our environment, and they're important as important as washing your hands. You know, this is thinking about how you're feeling, how you're connecting with people, what makes you well in the everyday things.
The 5 posters include Connect, which encourages people to talk and listen and to take notice of things that give them joy.
These messages come out of the New Economics Foundation project, the Foresight project. So they were commissioned by the UK and been part of the mental health campaigns for some time. But we think that these are really simple ways to just get about your day. And part of the design is about bringing colour back to Christchurch, bringing a bit of vibrancy back to what feels like quite a dull and sad place at times. So the connecting is about talking and listening and being with people. It's about having being present with people. So the giving is your time, your words and your presence. All of these things help us feel connected, be part of a wider community.
Mental Health Foundation staff had to flee their own offices to Latimer Square on the day of the February quake. With the office now marked for demolition, working on the poster campaign has been important for staff.
In the initial first few weeks, 4 weeks, it was a matter of just doing what you can here in Christchurch, and that was the practical way that the Mental Health Foundation can walk the talk of the things that we talk about that increase your wellbeing. The Mental Health Foundation staff, we since 22nd in Latimer Square have, first few days were a wee bit mad and really about taking care of families and friends and looking after our immediate community given the basic lockdown in Christchurch, but since have been involved in all sorts of exciting projects.
And if you feel like you're not feeling 100%,
you're not alone. That everybody's having those moments, and that's completely normal and to be expected in times of change. So I think the keep learning message is a good one. Looking for opportunities for change, a positive change. Go and have a cup of tea with someone or invite someone round. Go for a walk. Amazingly, people in Christchurch are actually doing the connection stuff really well, saying hello and checking in with each other just naturally. So go for a walk, be active. That's a fantastic message. Do what you can, enjoy what you do and move your mood.
Those in need of a hot meal in Littleton are now able to get one thanks to the Littleton Community House.
The Littleton Community House is supporting Littleton residents by putting out 40 meals a day. It began by running meals out to older residents who could not get to army-supplied food tents. When Civil Defence then moved on, the Community House found somewhere to work from, and when Meals on Wheels stopped from the hospital system, the Community House picked up those people relying on that food also.
I decided that there was a need and I would like to try and continue it. And we did have a lot of food that had been donated that I was given to do it with. So I approached Community House and Christine Wilson and asked her if we could do it from here. And she was all for it and supported it. And so we started from here and it has just grown.
They now work out of a tiny kitchen with all volunteers. The local marae have also supplied food.
They find us. They hear what we're doing and they want to help. So they come in and offer their services and we gratefully accept it.
Kathy says the house brings people together in the community. She compares it to when Littleton was shut off from Christchurch, as the Littleton Tunnel was closed for emergencies only during the quake.
With the earthquake, we were back to that old times we were shut in and we had to look after our own. And they did. This place was very well looked after.
The house does have funding to continue for the meantime, and they want to stay open during winter.
The detractors tell us that we are creating a group of people that are becoming reliant on us, and that may well be, but then the people that are supporting us, like the medical centre, are telling me that the health stats of the people that are getting these meals are improving.
The house caters for not just the elderly, but for those with disabilities too, and Kathy says they're open for anyone who needs their help.
We've just really tried to accommodate what's happening because we see it as really essential to be happening here in the community. So we've, as you can see, the kitchen's not huge, but we've rearranged it a bit, brought in some more freezers and fridges to accommodate the food that's been sent in, rearranged our cupboards a wee bit. One of our offices is currently turned into a storeroom, and the girls that are here working at the moment have all just put their hand up when they heard about it and said we'd love to come down and help, and they've been here ever since.
The house has 10 volunteers, including delivery drivers. These volunteers want to see it continue.
I think with winter coming on and heating being a bit of a concern, we feel if we can get their health up to a certain level now, not that we claim to be doctors, but if they're in pretty good health, I think it's going to help them through that winter period.
Do you want to measure out the rice?
And also for some of the girls that are coming in to help, you know, they've lost their income and things like that, so they feel like they're really contributing and doing something worthwhile.
Hi, Pete Smith, and I'm absolutely delighted to bring you the news that Pete Smith Hosts will be back. It'll be back on the brand new CTV. It's a chance for you to actually meet some of the up-and-coming stars of sport in our province, also some that are really high achievers, not just in Canterbury, but in New Zealand and around the world. It's back, Pete Smith Hosts, and we'll want to be reacting and interacting with you. So Pete Smith Hosts, I'm looking forward to it. I hope you will join me.
Hi, Rob Cope-Williams. Rob's Country will be back on CTV very, very soon. You'll remember that Rob's Country brings you anything rural, everything from dairying to cropping, horticulture, law, farm accounting, in fact anything that happens in rural Canterbury, which is really Rob's Country.
Hi, I'm Malcolm Harris, Sales Manager at the new CTV. Do you have a business that's been relocated, being rebuilt or repaired, or do you simply want to expand your market? Then you need to advertise on CTV. CTV is back on air and proud to be associated with the rebuild of Christchurch. Call me now and I'll put together a cost-effective campaign that will deliver results for your business. Grow your business with the all-new CTV, the Recovery Channel.
Sarah is now a name everyone is hearing in our city, but who and what are they? So, Sarah, what is it?
Canterbury Earthquake Recovery Authority, and that's really what it's all about, Rob. Just here to work with Canterburyans for the recovery of Christchurch and wider Canterbury.
So, who are you? I mean, where did you come from all of a sudden?
Well, the government set up Sarah as a government department. Legislation went through the House last week to give the authority some of the authorities it needs to undertake its work. As to the people, because the people really are the organisation, it's predominantly drawn from people around Christchurch. A few people we've brought in as well. And a lot of the people who are involved now in the recovery work are people who have been involved in the response work since the September quake and since February. So there's a fair bit of transition of existing expertise.
How big are you as a group?
At the moment we've got about 25 or 30 people. I'm trying to keep the size down to perhaps about 50 odd because I think it's important to remember that what Sarah, the Recovery Authority, is all about is about leading and coordinating the recovery. It's not about doing all the work. There's lots of agencies out there doing work, Christchurch City Council, Environment Canterbury, the other local authorities, a host of government departments, EQC. There's lots of people doing stuff. We're not there to take that over. We're there to lead it, coordinate it make sure it all happens in an orderly manner.
So you really are the sort of the overseers, as it were.
Yes, overseers, in that sense, just making sure that the recovery happens in an orderly manner. There's some things need to precede other things. There's some things happen in tandem, and bits can't be disconnected. For example, there's no sense having a school in one place and not having a road going to it. There's no use having people living in an area and having no fibre going to it. There's no use having fibre going to a place where there's nobody, and so on and so forth.
There's some pretty impressive stories about the recovery.
Oh, there are, and look, this is one of them. Right now, business resumption, and Canterbury TV, congratulations, you've done a fantastic job getting back on air, and all around the place we see businesses working hard to set up in all sorts of strange places, but to get business going.
It must be amazing trying to find businesses, because most of them are refugees and have found corners and cupboards.
Yeah, they're all over the place, but there's people like Peter Townsend and Bill Luff and Don Elder leading groups of business leaders as working with us in part of the work for recovery.
What's your main message to people?
Recovery will happen. It won't happen quickly. It won't be cheap, and it's going to be hard work all the way. And things like what happened at the weekend with yet another aftershock just makes you feel, we're back again. It's not just about recovery, it's about dealing with that. But it will happen. There's a lot of very optimistic, very confident people working for the recovery of Christchurch and environs.
And those that are frustrated and getting quite grumpy?
Oh yes, and you can understand that. It's especially people in some of the worst affected suburbs. I was out at the weekend talking with people at community briefings, and the situation is horrid. Very, very difficult, and it's going to get harder with the winter coming on, and the sooner people have certainty about the future for some of those places, the better. That's one of the things we're doing, is trying to pull together the information that decision makers need for some of those worst affected suburbs. Just what has happened to them, how much have they dropped, what does that mean for the future of some of those places, and we haven't got that yet, but that's really high on the priority list.
To take comfort from the fact that there are people out here who are doing everything they can.
Oh yes, it was really interesting at the weekend. Yes, there's lots of people who are living in very, very difficult conditions, there's frustration, but everybody is aiming on the same long-term goal, which is the recovery of Christchurch, and that's tremendous. It won't be easy, but it will happen.
Hi, I'm Kaneta Knight. Canterbury is still in recovery, and that's why we have CTV's City Life, a 1-hour program each weekday bringing up-to-the-date information to you about our recovery. We'll be speaking to people from all ends of the spectrum, from people still affected by the earthquake to those making the decisions for ongoing progress and change. Who would you like to speak with? What questions would you ask? Email me, kaneta@mainlandpress.co.nz. See you early May.
Hi everyone, I'm Emily Cooper, a reporter for CTV News. Thanks so much for being with us at this time. We're back and we'll be bringing you all the best regional and local news possible. Watch CTV for all the latest updates on the recovery. CTV News Monday to Friday on CTV and repeats on the Māori channel.
Hi, I'm Malcolm Harris, Sales Manager at the new CTV. Do you have a business that's been relocated, being rebuilt or repaired, or do you simply want to expand your market? Then you need to advertise on CTV. CTV is back on air and proud to be associated with the rebuild of Christchurch. Call me now and I'll put together a cost-effective campaign that will deliver results for your business. Grow your business with the all-new CTV, the Recovery Channel.
Work is continuing to stabilise the power supply throughout Christchurch.
This is pretty typical of the sort of faults we've got around the city. We've got an underground cable here which has suffered some damage through the earthquake, and we're just preparing the hole to try and get the guys in there to actually do the actual cable repair. The process before this is, first of all, we know we've got a cable with a fault in it. We've had some technicians out that have identified where the fault is using some fancy electronic equipment. We've now dug up the hole, and we're now just getting the hole ready so jointers can arrive, who are then going to cut into the cable, put a new bit of cable in, and then allow that cable to get going again. We've got about 1,000 broken or faults in underground cables at the moment. We're here in the CBD. Most of them are out in the suburbs, especially out in those eastern suburbs. There's one which the power is actually on, so we're really fixing a backup cable at the moment to make sure if something else goes wrong with the network in this area, we can get the power back on as quickly as possible.
As well as the work being carried out in the central city, technicians from all over the country are still working in the eastern suburbs.
Well, the eastern suburbs suffered by far the most damage of any part of Christchurch. In particular, we had 4 really large underground cables that all suffered damage which we think is, or at least in the short term, is unrepairable. So we built some new overhead lines, and we built 2 out of the 3 so far. We've got a third we're yet to start, but the first 2 are now commissioned. We've got to build a new substation in Rafidi Domain, so we hope to have that going in July. So at the moment we've done a lot of repairs and all the lights are on there, and if everyone even tonight turns on all their heaters, we're going to be able to meet that peak load. We're still concerned because while we've fixed a lot of the underground cables, we've got about 1,000 underground cable faults to fix. We've fixed about 600 of them. What we're not concerned about if the load does get, if we end up, some of those underground cables start faulting in the middle of winter, then we may start losing power. So that's why we've got a conservation message out there. Just turn off what you can. You don't have to turn your heating off, you need to stay warm. But if people turn off a little bit, that'll give the network just that little bit of extra security. Up until now, we've also had a lot of big diesel generators out there supplying areas where there's been so many cable faults we couldn't reroute the power through another route. The last of those generators came out yesterday. So everyone in those eastern suburbs is back on, if you like, back on the mains. We're not sending those diesel generators home, and we've bought a lot of them off the suppliers, we've leased more, and we've got a large number of them. We've got something like 20 ready for the winter if things start going wrong.
Cables carrying power throughout Christchurch have been seriously damaged by a series of earthquakes and aftershocks since September. Working to restore a reliable supply are technicians from throughout New Zealand and overseas.
Kinetics normally runs about 230 staff. That's both physical field staff and office and administration staff. That's swelled to upwards of about 350 during the earthquake response, and that's a combination of local resources, national contractors from around New Zealand who have been very helpful in helping us out, but also just more recently we've started to introduce resources from Australia, New South Wales and Victoria, which have come over to help us out through this pretty dire time. They have been pretty much on the go since day 1 after February 22. They're definitely tired, but we're certainly doing our best to manage that. That's why the out-of-town resources have been great, because as much as anything, they've been able to help our guys have some rests in between tough times. But they are working in pretty awful conditions, as you can see behind us. Things change all the time. But also some of the guys, they've got pretty bad house situations themselves, but they've been relentless in their efforts to get this fixed. I've just been amazed at these guys. They haven't even got home services and they're still here just working out, because they're dedicated to getting the city back to where it should be.
Sewerage has become a major issue for Canterbury's beaches and rivers, as Metro News from the New Zealand Broadcasting School reports.
Hardly a person to be seen. Not a fisherman, surfer or swimmer.
There's not as many people frequenting the beaches as there would be. And you can look behind you now, there's not a soul.
Beaches and rivers, basically red stickered.
And we do know that there is still raw sewage pouring into our waterways.
On a beautiful day like this, New Brighton's pier and beach are usually packed with people. But since February's earthquake and the leaking of sewage into the sea, numbers have been down.
It has impacts for business out at the coast, New Brighton area, but we have to balance that with the health of the population.
The sewage, a serious risk.
The last thing we also want to have is a gastroenteritic outbreak or something like hepatitis A, which could have a profound impact on an already vulnerable population.
But staying away is causing another problem. A lack of visitors hurting local businesses.
The weekends have been a lot quieter in that we don't get the families coming down for a walk on the beach and an ice cream.
The lack of people has cost Salt thousands of dollars since February, and Sharon Collins just wants people back at the beach.
There's no people on the beach, and as I say, that normally on the weekends it would be thriving.
However, there is no certainty about when normality will return.
Months, I heard one estimate going up to Christmas, at least.
Estimates like this mean that there won't be much competition for space on the water. Ben Mackey, Metro News.
Big day for CTV's reporter Emily Cooper, who joined a whole lot of other people graduating from Canterbury University.
The University of Canterbury's graduation celebration took place yesterday. Graduates of 2010 took part in a ceremony that differed a lot from other years. This year's ceremony took place at the university and on Island Fields rather than at the town hall. And instead of a procession through the city, graduates walked from the UCSA car park to Island Fields, where the celebration took place in a makeshift tent. Certificates were not presented at the ceremony, but given to graduates when they collected their regalia in hoods. The regalia outfits had to be rescued from the Arts Centre and were given out at Island School. The graduation ceremony for 2011 was originally cancelled, but students petitioned on Facebook to have some sort of celebration for the 2010 graduates. Ceremonies took place from 10 until 4 for students graduating with degrees including arts, engineering, commerce, science and law.
That's our news for today. I'm Rob Williams.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.